Hello again, everyone. Hope you're doing well. Thank you for those of you that replied. Oh, sorry, I think I hit my stand. Okay. Little do you know, this is actually the second take, so I'm just going with it. Anyways, feel free to laugh at me. I would. Thank you to those of you that replied to my message and let me know how things are going. You all just continue to amaze me with your flexibility and your empathy, just understanding that this process is hard for all of us, students and teachers. So really thank you for that. It makes it much easier to be working with all of you just flexible, wonderful humans. So this is the second part of what's due next week. So we are going to go through page 244 and 245. So because we can't really do ensemble playing right now, and that's a really important part of our course, I'm thinking of ways to still have you work on that skill. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to upload myself playing page 243. You don't need to play that unless you want to. I'm going to upload just an audio clip of me playing 243. And then you get to choose either part 3 or part 4 on page 244 and 245. Okay, so you're essentially going to be accompanying me. I'll talk a little more about the logistics of how you're going to record that, but let's talk about 244 and 245. Okay, so you're picking either part 3 or part 4. I'm going to talk about both. You only need to really listen and work on the one that you choose. So starting with part 3, we notice that we have chord symbols / chord notation, and we notice that we're in the key of, yes, C major, and we're in 3/8 time. So if we think about what our primary chords or most common chords are in this key, we have C major, F major, C major, and then G7. Now take note, pardon me, then in measure 3, they ask you to play a G over B chord. So instead of doing our normal 5/7, that is a first inversion G chord, meaning B, D, G. B, D, G. Okay. And then when we get to measure 7, they do ask you to play a G7 chord. Now remember, these accompaniments are meant to have a little bit of flexibility regarding the pitches that you choose. So when you get to measure 7, you can play a root position G7 chord. Since there are only 3 beats in a measure, you can only fit 3 pitches. So you would either choose G, B, F or G, D, F. You can also invert it and play our, I'm okay with that. So that hopefully will make a little more sense once I demonstrate it. So just know I'm flexible with what inversion you choose as long as you're playing the chord that's notated. Okay, so far C major, G over B, G7. We have a bunch of those again, and if you look at measure 13, this is a borrowed chord, meaning that it doesn't exist in the key of C. But remember, the chord symbols rule over everything. So yes, there is a C sharp in that chord. So A over C sharp, that told me that it's an A major chord, but I'm going to invert it so that C sharp is on bottom. So this chord will be C sharp, E, A. First inversion, A chord. Okay, measure 15, that takes us to D minor. Measure 17, we go back to that G over B chord, B, D, G. Takes us to C, back and forth a bit. Our next new chord is measure 21, D minor over F, which means a first inversion D chord, F, A, D, which takes us to a G7, which takes us to C. So please note that what I just demonstrated were just the block chord versions of each of those chords, just finding them. Where is G over B? Where is A over C sharp? Your job, depending on which line you pick, line 3 or line 4, you'll break up the chords differently. So I'm going to go ahead and play through part 3. Just play through it, and then I will talk a little bit about some choices I made. Okay, so this is part 3. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. So you probably noticed sonically or aurally, the passing off between the left and right hand, it sometimes sounds strange and bare. Like for me, going from measure 3 to measure 4, that just doesn't sit well with me, but it makes more sense in context of the ensemble. So a few choices I made. First of all the way throughout, left hand, then right, left, right, and no repeats. Don't record repeats unless you really want to. Don't record repeats for your assignment. And then when I got to measure 7, I did go down and play G, B, F as my 5/7. What other choices? You probably saw my hands at measure 21. I wanted to play a low chord, and then I decided to move up for the D minor over F. Either octave is fine. That's just the choice that I made. I may do it different depending on the day. Okay, so part 3, you are breaking up each chord, bottom, middle, top, left hand, right hand. Feel free to replay the demonstration of me playing through, and shoot me a message if you need an up-close view. Okay, part 4. You're taking those same inversions, but now you're going to play the root note or bottom note of each chord in the left hand, and then the blocked chord in the right. Now, please note, whenever you have an inverted chord or slash chord notation in measure 3, because it's G over B, the B is on bottom. So measure 3, your left hand takes the B, and your right hand plays the inversion. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and play all the way through part 4, no repeats. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. About that. Again, I was deciding, should I go high or should I go low? I chose the lower octave, which is not what they wrote. Either one is fine. The low F or, so F1 or F2. So, all the way through, another thing that I think is strange, I'm not quite sure why. They tell you to start with your left hand second finger on C and then use 5 for the B. I don't know. I would just use 3 since it's right there. And then using whatever finger is available, 2, 3, 5. And then all the way through, really the only other choice, like I said, is whether you go down or up for the D over F chords and the G7. So that's that. Feel free to replay. And like I said, so as far as turning this in, I'm going to upload an audio file with me playing page 243, because this all works together, 243 through 245. This is what you're going to do. Let me see if my phone's around. No, it's not. So when you are recording this component, you'll take out a device that you can play my recording on. You press play and you're going to play along with the recording. So while you hear me playing, you're going to be accompanying me, either doing part 3 or part 4. So the idea is that it's a duet. Now, if you only have one device available to you, if you can't play my audio track and record at the same time, please just shoot me a message and we'll figure out an alternative. I realize that there are going to be some just differences in what all we have available, and that's okay. Okay, so the idea is that you're accompanying the audio track. One alternative that I'm thinking of right now, if you don't have 2 devices to work off of, you could just set a metronome. I'll just go ahead and put a metronome marking on Canvas, and I would just want you to play your part with a metronome to show that you can keep the beat and keep going. Definitely less boring, but that's an option. So to recap, the stuff that's due Monday, the 30th, you are going to record F sharp major scales, hands separate, and the chord progression. I'd like the chord progression to be together if at all possible, hands together. And then page 237, your right hand plays the melody, your left hand plays the blocked chords. And then page 244, 245, either part 3 or part 4. So you all went through the recording and sending process last semester for the final. I am happy to accept email, Canvas message. You can upload it to the Canvas assignment, Google Drive, whatever works. I will try to send confirmation emails when I get something so you know if I've received it. Please plan ahead. I'm asking that this be to me by the end of our class time on Monday. So I guess that would be, yeah, by about 11 a.m. On Monday the 30th. Please message me if you have questions, if something wasn't clear, or if you're struggling with something. I'd love to help you. Other than that, hope you stay happy and healthy and cozy, and I look forward to seeing your videos. Bye-bye.